Alright guys, TadCrummer here back again today. Haven't enjoyed your Tuesday once again so far, and today we're going to talk about the potential of expansion teams for the CDL 2022. When it went to 4v4 this season, we were kind of expecting it to be alongside that 4 more additional franchise teams. That was not the case for the 2021 season, but seems very, very likely indeed to be the case, if not more teams for the 2022 season, especially if we can get some lands on this season, as we talked about earlier today. Some few Rostermania things to talk about before this, but also to mention really, who are the teams that are going to get these spots if they are indeed the spots? Because there's a few interesting names on the cards as we'll look at over the coming minutes. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you for doing that. Also, thank you for 33,000 subscribers. It's been coming up really, really quickly indeed, like 100 subs a day, if not more. It's been crazy over the last few weeks. Onwards and upwards from here, I am sure. Before we get into things, this is what Cronin at CDL Intel has to say about the Rostermania rumours over the last few days. OpTic Gaming Los Angeles, no idea. TJ should still be here though. So, you know, supposedly TJ, Slasher and Kenny, kind of the team of 3 on that squad. Looking for a 4th. Draza is signed, potentially as a starter, potentially as a substitute. We don't really know what's going on right now. They've done a good job, honestly, keeping things under wraps compared to a lot of the other teams. Seattle, I'm not sure, he says. I think the team changed a bunch. I'm pretty sure Gunless left and came back at one point. Could be wrong on that one, though. Prestinni, Looney, Gunless, Octane is the roster I heard the most, but that was a while ago now. We talked about Prestinni doing that tweet where he said he was a free agent, and yeah, we don't really know what's going on. Then again, though, he tweets out this. Oh, what a relief it is. Contract signing, it's official. Definitely implying that, well, he's managed to sign it somewhere in the league for next season. Whether that's as a sub, I kind of doubt it. Whether that's as a starter, maybe he's still on Seattle. Who even knows what's going on? It's very up in the air right now. We get Octane replying to this one saying, mind blown, I got to shoot against you again. No, kind of saying that he's gone to a different team than Octane, who will certainly be on the Seattle Surge. But, well, we'll have to see how this develops. Maybe Octane's baiting. Highly likely that he is. Then again, you know, maybe it's more likely that Prestinni has managed to find a spot elsewhere, but then again, saying he was a free agent just a few days ago, the fact that he's signed her already, you know, it's a very, very uncertain situation, quite frankly. And as Attach says, what teams did you join? I signed for an amateur CS team. You'll see I'm on my way up. So we'll have to see over the coming days what gets developed or what gets confirmed, really, on this Prestinni and, well, the Seattle more widely situation, because as Seattle Surge say, there were like 48,000 followers at the time. Might reveal the roster at 50k followers or something. They get to 50k followers, and guess what? Clearly, we underestimated you, and the social media manager underestimated your abilities. Well, we can't announce the roster right now. We'll announce it as soon as possible. They kind of got ratioed pretty hard on this one. So I think a lot of people unfollowed as a result of this as well. So that was pretty entertaining. But yeah, as soon as possible. Don't exactly know what that means. But when the Rostermania confirmations do happen, I'll do my best to make sure they are here on the channel first. Prestinni also says, this night times are the worst, and I'm just laying in bed not able to sleep yet. So whether this means because he's got a team sorted, whether it means because he hasn't got a team sorted, big questions right now. So let's talk about potential expansion for the CoD League 2022. ESPN came out a while ago to say that it will not be expanding going into Season 2, and is instead setting its sights on expansion in 2022 after a full offline season. So this kind of harkens back really to what we talked about earlier today with the Kevin Hit, the Esports Observer story, really, of Activision proposing a full bubble for the 2021 season. So, yeah, they're looking for an offline season, effectively increase the amount of LAN tournaments they hold so that they can, well, sell the spots for more, I suppose, in an ideal world. So this is what the article said. Not expanding for the second season is not due to a lack of interest from potential new franchise partners, sources said, after the league had a relatively solid year, excluding some, you know, in-game hiccups, of course, for Modern Warfare. Rather, both the league and team owners hope to showcase their original business plans, particularly the popularity of offline, that meaning LAN events, in the city-based league, before looking to recruit new franchise buyers for a higher sum than initially, according to sources. So they were $25 million each initially. We continue to see great demand for the CDL coming in from a lot of different places, which is always exciting to see, said, well, Call of Duty League Commissioner Joanna Ferries. Breaking the viewership records that we've had with our playoffs run shows what the possibilities are for us in this nascent stage. However, our heads are currently down and focused on our 12 teams that have been with us since the beginning. We were oversubscribed with demand, then we settled on our 12, and we'll do right by that demand at the appropriate time. So yeah, to follow on from this, there was an interesting clip that came in on the Eavesdrop podcast a few days ago with Hector and Hastro discussing the possibility of expansion for next season and how many teams they would like to see, and I imagine that at least 4 is very likely a possibility.
Now, I'm going to ask you this because I know for a fact we have not talked about it on any level.
All right.
How many teams do you think that we should go expansion to?
Yeah.
Now, I'm literally...
Like immediately or like all time?
I mean, we haven't talked about this
Yeah,
at
we
a
haven't,
league
not at
level.
all,
This
not
is
at
just
all.
me to you.
Like all time, like or just immediately.
Let's just say the next
next round?
iteration. Yeah, let's say 2022.
8.
8 more?
I think we should take 8 more.
Fuck.
I think we should take 8 more.
Go to 20?
It's hard to do that though. I don't think that's reasonable. I think I think it would be cool to see that because I think that's what would make the competition really nice. You know what I mean? But probably 4.
Yeah.
4 is probably the best, probably the sweet spot. But I think 8 would just be interesting, more interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you would have some teams that might be just out of nowhere with 8. You know, just out of nowhere, you might get some team of like young Ams or something that just comes through, and I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember back in the day, there was, I can't remember what year it was, but it was like Force. Do you remember them? Like they just came out of nowhere.
Team Force?
Team Force, I think it was their name.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names of the
It
dudes
sort of
on
rings
that
a bell.
team.
Yeah, it rings a bell.
I want to say like John played on that team or something, but I can't remember. But like they came out of nowhere at one of the MLGs, man, and placed like top 4. You know, and it was like, what? Where are these guys from, you know?
Yeah.
So, of course, if the league was to expand next season, this would be a pretty big deal, right? And we saw in that article, well, I didn't put it on screen, but in that article, which I'll leave linked down below from ESPN, they talked about how London Royal Ravens are very much keen to have some expansion further in the European side. I mean, a Madrid team could be great, of course, for Heretics. They were certainly interested. There's a number of other organizations, I imagine, that were kind of on the fringes that weren't sure if they wanted to invest for year one, but now it's kind of proven to be a relatively, you know, it seems like a relatively decent investment, in my opinion, compared to some of the other leagues that are out there right now. And Call of Duty, to be honest, obviously I'm biased, but seems like it has a brighter future than the Overwatch League per se. And the fact that there's a new game every year and Warzone popping off right now, you know, and even DrDisrespect here, as you can see in this clip, which I'll just put on screen real briefly, talking about how well he might, you know, he might be looking into a Call of Duty team. Talked about this a while ago as well, and well, he mentions the San Diego Speed. Jake Lucky's been doing some good reporting on this, but DrDisrespect has certainly hinted a while ago about having a San Diego team. This time he actually comes up with a name for it.
It's got a good ring to it, huh? San Diego Speed. Investors. That didn't take long, did it? This is the 2-time back-to-back. Oh, shut up. See, I'm in control. I'm in control.
And Rise Nation, of course, is also a team that we've been talking about, right? Because they hired Pac-Man back after he was released as like the head coach on the OpTic Gaming Los Angeles team, back to 4v4 Say Less. And they did this tweet as well from not too long ago, basically saying, Call of Duty Cold War, CDL expansion, where are you at? Saying like, count us in, we're going to be there when this does happen. So yeah, who knows? How many teams would you guys like to see next season? I think the 12 is certainly too little in a 4v4 environment. We certainly need at least 16. There's a lot of players this season that are going to be on the bench or, well, going to be in the amateur side, which definitely would be easily good enough to be on a pro league spot. However, do we get 4 more? Do we get 8 more? And what does the future look like, right? Because if it goes up to 20 teams, it's difficult to expand beyond 20 without necessarily like separating into divisions. But I think for the near future, 20 is certainly the reasonable limit of what we can accomplish. So expanding there in 1 year, in just 1 year, is probably too much. I think 4 teams makes sense. 2 teams is probably too few because 14 is kind of an odd number to work with in terms of tournament stuff. So yeah, I think 16 makes the most sense, but which 4 teams will manage to get that spot? Because as the league is saying, they want to put on a show this season, probably partially why that they've proposed the bubble to these, well, to the CDL teams, to put on a show so they can sell these franchise spots for more next season. And if that is the case, and they do manage to pull that off and sell the franchise spots for, you know, a pretty penny, especially if there's a lot of investors considering it, because, well, if there's up to 8 spots potentially on offer, it's definitely going to be a pretty competitive environment to get those 4 teams. That could push the prices up. That could be good for Activision and the CDL. I'm sure their marketing team and their sales team know exactly what they are doing here. And also, of course, from the player side, it would allow a number of players which have been forced to the sidelines with the 4v4 change and staying at 12 teams to get back into the CDL. And well, that's certainly an incentive for them to stick around and grind out the Challenger stuff this season, with the very high possibility that they'll get back into the league next time around if they do manage to maintain their stock. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you are new. As always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go right.
One's gonna be like mid cut or something, or in a pass.
Yeah, I'm gonna third. I'm just letting you to third down because I'm gonna be ready for gut fights.
Hey,
Fair.
we're one weak.
Nice.
Job. I give him a cut. Dead. That's just
I'm gonna
2.
make cut. Oh, what?
Make cut.
Give me a cut, give me a cut, give me a cut. I'm here, I'm here.
Nice.
Fuck up,
Coming
back
under
to
off. It's hit last guy.
Bad position completely.
Oh, I can get away. Nice job. That's 3 dead. Hitman last guy.
back. Oh my god, come on.
Just 2 dead.
Nice,
3 dead.
go.
Last guy up. Gorgo.
I'm collapsing underpass, guys.
I'm already back.
Nice.
Get that shit.
On the way, I'm on the way.
Fast
On the ball, on the ball, on the ball. Keep trapping, keep trapping.
You want top food? Grab the ball.
Back point, back point. Back point.
I'm gonna try to do
Oh, I'm
They
back. Back.
Under pass?
Can't tell me I'm
One
back real
shot?
quick?
Huh?
Tell me I'm back real
You're
quick?
Oh,
You're fucking back.